Cedra Mayfield, and this is LegalSpeak, where we break down what's happening in the legal industry. We are recording live at the Women Influence and Power in Law Conference taking place in D.C., and joining us now is Vanessa Blum, ALM's Vice President of Legal Product Innovation and Executive Editor of Law.com Radar, and the original host of LegalSpeak. Kudos, Vanessa. Because of you, we are here. You literally helped make this magic happen.
Hi, Cedra. It is so lovely to be back at the mic again. It's always my favorite part. One of my favorite moments of attending any conference is seeing you and knowing I'll get a chance to catch up.
I love that. So we are here at WIPL, and as you can hear in the background, it is a lively conference at this moment. So Vanessa, welcome to WIPL. This is obviously not your first WIPL, but if you had to describe WIPL to someone who's not here but hearing this in the background, how would you describe WIPL?
Yeah, so not my first WIPL, but I actually haven't been to this conference since pre-COVID, so I'm delighted to be back, and you can just hear the energy in this room, can't you? So these are women who are here to learn, they're here to share, they're here to make connections and interact with each other in person. They're incredibly accomplished in their careers, but they're also looking to live full, rich lives and find balance, and that's a lot of the things that we talk about here at WIPL.
I love that, because while we're here at WIPL, you have many hats to wear, my friend. You are moderating while we're here as well, yes?
Yes, I will be moderating a panel with some incredible panelists, and I'm really excited about what they're going to share later this afternoon. We had a chance earlier to kind of debrief and plan the agenda, and it's going to be a fabulous panel.
So let's talk about that. So the panel that you are going to be moderating is called Lead Your Life Like a CEO, Turning Personal Goals into Reality with Strategic Planning Intentionality. So for our listeners who might not be able to attend the session, what are you guys going to really delve into with this particular panel discussion?
Yeah, so the idea behind this panel is that the women attending WIPL have incredible executive skills. They are leaders in their organizations. They know how to have impact. They know how to set strategic plans and execute on them, but are often directing all of those skills and all of that energy in their professional lives and not putting the same focus, attention, prioritization to personal goals. So we're going to have a conversation about setting goals with intentionality. One of the panelists talks about taking yourself on a date, sitting down with a notebook, not being on your phone, not having your headset on, and just thinking about what you're trying to achieve at that stage of your life. So goal setting will be, a big part of the conversation. Also, the ideas about how to channel your professional skills into achieving your goals. We're going to talk about the hard parts of it, what sometimes gets in the way, how we sometimes get in our own way when we're trying to prioritize, personal objectives. And then each of the panelists will share concrete, practical tips, things the audience can keep in mind, leave the conference, and put into action.
You are moderating, but let's be clear, you are no stranger to scaling your own self. You've been very strategic in your own career. I'm wondering, does this panel topic resonate with you on a personal level as well?
Absolutely. It's something I keep in mind, and also something that challenges me every day. I think this isn't exactly a domain that you learn and master. It's one of these areas where you have to keep it in mind and set good habits and follow through. We have a colleague, Lizette Jackson, who's also going to be on this panel, and I expect you're going to be talking with her later on. And one of the lessons I took from her is about prioritizing health and fitness and wellness. And gosh darn it, did I see Lizette in the hotel gym this morning before starting our day, before coming into this environment, sitting on a panel. We were both there trying to do something that would be good for ourselves and give us energy in the day.
Love that. So I've got to ask, because there are going to be listeners who are going to hear this and they're going to be motivated listening to everyone else's stories, but then when it comes to their own personal goals, they might start to feel a little overwhelmed. Like, where do I start? How do I start? What do I do? To those folks, what do you say?
I would say start small, start with something concrete and achievable. I love the idea of setting a date with yourself, a time where you're not distracted to think about personal goals. And then I think acknowledging that it's not a smooth path and being prepared to deal with setbacks, challenges, knowing that you're going to need to set boundaries along the way. But I think if you have the expectation that this is the beginning of a journey that will involve some challenges to overcome, you're going to be better prepared to stick with it and not give up at the first sign of adversity.
Love that. All right, any final thoughts about the panel discussion?
I'm just so excited to hear what these women bring to the table. I think there's going to be a really lively dialogue and everyone's going to walk away feeling very empowered.
And shifting one more time back to the conference, because after having a hiatus of not being here, I've got to know, what are you most looking forward to this year in particular?
Well, can I say one of the greatest highlights has been already is Gina Davis was the keynoter this morning, and I was sitting right up front, listening to Gina Davis, one of the most relatable, down-to-earth movie stars I think I've ever encountered. Not that I encounter a lot of movie stars, but just her stories, her storytelling, and the ways she talked about kind of coming into her own power and taking ownership of some of her own, life. I just found it incredibly inspiring.
I love that. And you're incredibly inspiring because, again, this is the OG host, guys, of LegalSpeak. I've got to ask now I get to get the critique. How are we doing on LegalSpeak?
Oh, my gosh. I am so impressed by what you've done with this podcast, taking this platform. You've taken it in entirely new heights, and I can just sit back and be like a proud mama.
All right, well, good. We're making her proud. We like that. Vanessa, thank you for joining us here on LegalSpeak.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, guys. Signing out from the WIPL conference taking place in D.C., I'm Cedra Mayfield. This is LegalSpeak.